All right, Sophie King Cool here with Bobby Caldwell. How you doing, man?
I'm doing my very well indeed. And yourself?
I'm doing great, thank you. So, tell me about the new lineup for Captain Beyond.
The new lineup is consisting of my former bass player that played with Rhino and I, and Jamie, who's from up your neck of the woods, and Jamie Hoka,
Right?
um, and a couple of other people that actually one of the other guitar players actually played with Rhino as well, and then the singer is a person you wouldn't know.
Now, how did you guys start to get together, and what made you want to go back on the road again?
Well, there had been so many people through the last couple of years asking, are you playing anywhere? Are you gonna? Is Captain Beyond, going out? Is Captain Beyond even together? And it just sort of happened, just by people asking about it, and then it was the vetting process of trying to, get find find the right people.
Very cool. Now, did you try and get in contact with Rod when you were setting this up, or no?
Well, Rod and I have talked through the years. We still talk, but Rod has another life. He's not involved in music. I would have loved to have Rod involved, but it's probably not going to happen unless he has a change of heart.
He's a respiratory therapist. Is that right?
He is. Uh huh.
You think he ever has any of you guys' music playing over the speakers in the office and says, "Hey, man, that's me."
I wouldn't think so, but he does have still a sense of humor because we were laughing about some things on the phone. So I, he actually got a great sense of humor, but I doubt he's doing that.
Now you mentioned that Jamie here is a local, and I just spoke with Jamie the other day, and he told me to ask you about how Captain Beyond actually got its name.
Well, Captain Beyond got its name basically during the last year of the Iron Butterfly. You know, they were out because they were massively successful, forgetting, whether the music was appealing to all people, but they were huge. And I guess that, when Rhino would come down to get on the bus or people this and that, um, Lee Dorman sort of started teasing him and saying, "Oh, Captain Beyond here, oh, so and so." It was just a kind of a passing tease to him, and when we got the band together, it was, I guess, just brought up and mutually agreed that that would be a name that would um, stick.
Right, right.
And so that's pretty much how it happened.
Very cool. Jamie also told me to ask you about the Elvis song "Blue Christmas."
Oh God. Uh, well, um, I was fronting my own band for a long time in LA and not playing drums all the time, but just singing and writing the songs and so on. And what happened was, we would just have this little game that we would start playing. It's really not that funny. You'd have to have been there, but just I just told the band, look, if ever you hear the opening, words of I'll have a blue Christmas or anything. I don't care what you're doing. You've got to, jump off of a building or plug your guitar, I mean, whatever it is. And just became like a little game that we would play just to see it. And it's just one of those silly things. Like I said, you'd have to have been there as, the most inopportune times. I would count that song off and start, not even count it off, just start singing. Oh, well, and then everybody would be racing around to their instruments, and that's all that was.
That's very cool. I bet you had some fun times back in the day.
A lot of laughs, I can tell you, just a lot of laughs.
Now, is there any chance you guys doing any new material with this lineup that you got going on?
Well, we are doing some new things in the show, and there's a whole lot more. But I'll tell you something. You got to be kind of careful about that because you you are now at the whim of lots of people being able to capture it, so to speak.
Right, right.
And that's not something that you want to have happening. So it used to be a time, as you know, years ago, hey, you've got some new things to play. Everybody was excited about hearing it, and you were excited about playing it. But now you have to be very careful that it's not getting pinched by somebody, and the next thing you know, it's out there and it shouldn't be. So we're having to do that kind of very carefully.
Now, do you find it so much different performing now as you did back then? As you mentioned, there's so many ways of people recording things. I mean, you got to see a million people out there with their cell phones in their hand and watching you play through the screen on their phone instead of watching you there.
Crazy.
Compared to years ago, where it'd be, you might see a lighter get lit up to
That's right. That's exactly what I was thinking about. It used to be lighters. Yeah, it's I mean, it's just because things are new doesn't mean they're better. And I don't know that that's serving any helpful purpose. You want to take pictures from a phone or, that's fine. But broadcasting things and sending them out when they're not even scripted for that kind of thing, and you see everybody with their camera in the air, the phone in the air, and you're thinking, yeah, really? And so I don't know. It's definitely changed like that. Yeah, it used to be. Everybody had a lighter, in their hand, and it was lit. And if you were a cigarette smoker, you could just walk by anybody and get a light. And no, I'm kidding. But but you know what I mean.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, it was different.
Yeah, and I like me personally. I don't understand the cell phone video of a show. I mean, I don't think anybody's even really watched their own video after that. And I know there's no, a million hits on some YouTube video. Somebody like, look what I found on this crappy quality video of my hand shaking around, and the quality of my phone ain't picking up the audio the way it should be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's very. It almost, as all things, there's a really upside to it, but as all things, it's a situation where it dilutes the very endeavor itself. Sometimes it helps everything, like some things can, but then when it's overdone or over this, and then of course, now it's it's too much. So I don't know. I'm not real big on broadcasting the show live to other places or people because it's just not. That's not why you're there to play. You're playing there for that group. So, but what are you going to do? I mean, you can't confiscate everybody's phone, and
right.
So it definitely is what it is, unfortunately.
Now, do you find that to be a damper on this new material? I mean, do you not play as much as you should? Do you think like do you know what you want to do, or do you see phones out and say, "Hey guys, let's not put this out because you guys might be recording a new album or you might be doing something."
Well, as soon as I see the phones out, I don't even start the song. No, I'm kidding. Uh,
Walk off the stage and be like, "All right, guys,
yeah,
phones away."
just leave and go sit on the edge of the stage and talk to people. No, I think what are you going to do again? You just do what you're doing and do the best you can, and whether they were there or not. And the downside of it is mostly is having um, I think the way it's presented. In other words, there's a lot of pictures of people that they don't look their best, and they're put out there. You've had enough pictures taken of yourself, whether it's from your family or whatever. You're not doing anything different, but some of them you're thinking, really? I mean, that's an awful, you know what I mean? And I think that's the part you have to keep putting up with is sometimes there's just things that are put out there that people don't mean it to be that way. It's just less than flattering. It's just like, oh, golly, I look like I went through the car wash or something. And so, yeah, I mean, that's the main thing.
Well, that's why you have the professional photographers come to the shows that the capture the first song or two. Well, three is the standard, but
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why. But again, not being able to control the not being able to control the environment. I mean, I think people used to much more enjoy just coming to a show and sitting down and you know and and not having all the distractions and uh, again, there's a difference between taking a picture from the audience, not to belabor this, but and running a live streaming thing. That's the part that gets me. Taking a shot from a photo from a phone isn't any different than having, you know what I mean, press people out there. Oh, I got this new picture of Jimmy Page that came out really good or whatever. That's fine, but running the whole concert for somebody. I mean, really?
right, yeah, exactly.
That's the part that gets me. So,
Now, is there any chance you guys recording any of this new material you were talking about?
well, that's the whole aim here is really not to just go out and play and reintroduce or expose people to Captain Beyond's music. To um, it's really to do some real masterpieces of musically, and so this is really where it's got to go, and that this is what we're aiming for. So I'm talking to different producers and different people, and to see who's the right person for the job, if you will.
Very cool.
Yeah, so that's the goal.
That's got to be a it's going to be an awesome album once it comes out. I mean, you guys influence so many people. I mean, I know the stories of Metallica playing your music to different bands that they toured with.
Well,
Jeff.
the Foo Fighters, the drummer had Captain Beyond on his bass drum head.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Taylor
That was
Hawkins did
pretty.
the tribute there.
That was pretty funny. Yeah, yeah, that was pretty funny.
Now, I've actually interviewed Johnny Winter. I did his very last interview, and I know
Okay.
you played with him for
Yes.
years. He told me a story about a revolving stage that they played on. Were you part of that show? Do you remember a revolving stage? And
Yeah, and I think it was the one in Baltimore, if that's the one he was talking about.
he
There
mentioned
was
he mentioned that he did some LSD and the stage started spinning around and he wasn't sure what was going on. And
No, I wasn't. No, I know which one you mean. No, I wasn't at that. Um, I believe that was in Philadelphia. I believe in some situation, and but it's a true story.
yeah, 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 he told me he told me all about it, and I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, Johnny. Well, Johnny was a great storyteller and just a fantastic person, and so he was always funny when he'd start talking about things, and I mean, he'd make me laugh when we were, talking about things. I said, "Really, Johnny? Really? No kidding." So yeah, he was a wonderful person, great musician.
I look through your career, and it's just amazing that the artists that you played with. I mean, you've played with basically everybody. You played with some of the Beatles. I mean, you had a remarkable run throughout everything that you've done. Was there ever a time that you were just like, I can't believe that I'm jamming with these guys today?
I think, to be honest, no, and I'll tell you why. When things like that are happening, it's happening so fast that you you don't think about it. You know what I mean? It's sort of like going. You don't stop and think about it really because it's happening so quick. And then sometime later you start to think about it and you think, geez, boy, was that. Even now, I don't, unless I'm talking to somebody. Many times I forget. Um, Joe Vitale, the drummer with Joe Walsh, but for years was with Crosby, Stills and Nash. Well, I've known Joe for years since he was in the James Gang, and we were both there the night that John Lennon was hosting his private party there in at the record plant. And so one day, we were talking, and I said, "Joe, do you remember this or that when we went up there and I saw you at the party and you asked me if I was going to sit in and all that?" And he goes, "Yeah." Well, he hadn't even really thought about it for a long time. So you just forget those things. You know what I mean? It's just something that happens. It's not that you're any less grateful about it because you're really humbled by it, but you think, geez, that's right. Oh, I played with so and so that night. Geez, I forgot he was there. Or oh yeah, Janis Joplin came in the room one night when we were in New York and tackled Johnny in the bedroom and started wrestling with him. Oh, I remember that. Or whatever it is. So yeah.
To go back to talking about the possible release of an album, when I'm sitting here talking to you and thinking about things, I mean, you are a true rock and roll musician. I mean, you've been doing this for years. Do you see the change in the music industry to be difficult from what it once was? I mean, now there's crowdfunding. You have to have a social media presence. There's so many different options of recording a new album than to what it was when you first started.
And so the question is, do I see the changes in it, you mean? Or
Do you find it difficult? I mean, adapting to the way things are now.
um I suppose yes. But if if one keeps their focus on what they're doing, if you just keep running your race, usually whatever's going on around you in the periphery or this or that usually comes back around to reintroduce themselves to you. Um, you know what I mean? It's a strange thing, and I don't know that. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine with Three Dog Night, and I said, the late Jimmy Greenspan. I said, Jimmy, the music business is dead. There isn't any music business. And the reason I said that is because To clarify my comment, is that there had to be four separate things happening in order to achieve some level of stardom. You had to have four things, and I don't want to, for the cynics to think stardom, but that's what it was. You were trying to be successful.
Right.
Well, those four things were as following. One of them, you had to be playing something musically, either as an individual or as a part of a group that had some artistic merit. Of course, the record companies were all looking for make money off of your back. We're not questioning that. But in order for them to just to take that step and pay for you to record, you had to have something different, unique unto yourself. The second thing you had to have is you had to have the recording contract with somebody that's decides that you're worth taking a chance on. The next thing you had to have is radio stations, because you had to have radio stations to play the product. The fourth thing you had to have is record stores, whatever you call it, record stores, CD stores, whatever the hell they're called, in order for you to go in and buy the product. It doesn't matter how many times you hear it on the air and it's all great. If you can't buy it anywhere, you can't buy it. So, excuse the expression, buy it. And, but you know what I'm saying? And so, that was the framework in order to be successful. There isn't any record stores anymore, but within reason. I mean, there are, but it's not like it once was.
Exactly.
There's not very many. There's not very many record companies. There are record companies. Are they spending big money to get somebody signed off of American Idol? I don't think so. Are the radio stations playing anything except the 8,000th time of Magic Carpet Ride or something? It has nothing to do whether it's a great song or not. It has to do with the radio stations are all owned by two companies. So you can't get you can't get anything out there. I mean, so what does that mean? Well, it means that the internet has put all these people pretty much in the antiquation category. And now if you want to do anything that's going to mean anything, you've got to do it you've got to do it on everyone's computer at home. I mean, basically.
Right.
And that, the excitement, I have to, if I can just pontificate here a moment. The excitement when I was a kid probably was like for you, I don't know how old you are, but, was going to the record stores. You'd go to the record stores, man, you'd see these great albums, you'd see the pictures with it. Sometimes you'd open it up, there'd be more things inside, there'd be all the lyrics written out. You could sit there and play it and educate yourself. Wow, this was recorded at so and so in that such and such city. Oh wow, and it was a really magical thing. Listening to music on the radio once was a really magical thing. Far better than television, because your own imagination takes over. Well, all of that, the consumer is the one that suffers. The consumer, that's why that, it's the way it is. It's been sort of diluted down to a sub-denominator, if you will, and so I'm. I appreciate the internet and I appreciate the things you can do with it and all that stuff. That's wonderful. But I just think that there's a whole part of the movie that I think everyone misses but can't do anything about it.
Now, do you feel that it hinders you as an artist? This is your job, this is your career, this is how you make money. I mean, with people not going to buy an album at a store, when they download it, they can, click of a button that it's there. Does that even hinder you creatively of like thinking of what you're going to do or putting this out? You're thinking to yourself, man, I know someone's just going to hit a button on their computer and
Well, that's a good question. Um, I don't think so because um, if I said to you, "Do you live in Buffalo or Niagara Falls or somewhere?"
I live in Lewiston. I live right out of Niagara Falls.
Okay, so if I said to you, "Listen, you want to go up to this particular such and such, right?" And you go, "Yes," and I said, "Well, there's only one street at this particular time that you can get to it. What do you want to do?" Well, I don't have many choices. I guess I have to take this one street. It's the only one out there. It's the only one available. It's almost like that musically. I don't think about whether someone's going to nick it or this, that, and the other. What I'm more concerned about is trying to make some really spectacular albums musically, and then let other people decide if it does anything for them. That's my more. In other words, I can only do control what I can control, and then I don't want to sound stupid, but you hope for the best. You're like, well, and you realize even while you're doing it that okay, well, it's a different world. But if you have a certain level of musician or type of creativity that you're trying to get across, that's the thing that matters the most. Because once you've said that and you've done it, um, you did your part, so to speak. That's all I can do. You know what I mean? You say, hey, I did that job. I did it 100%, and I hope some people appreciate it. And all you can do is kind of, it's like playing football. You go out there and you play the best you can at your position, and you hope that it all works out and everybody's happy and the team wins and whatever. Outside of that, you can't control anything. So, yeah, to answer your question, yes and no. I mean, I just don't. I try not to think about it. Just focus on what needs to happen.
Now, with this new lineup and having a couple of younger guys in the band, do you think that helps you adapt to the way the music scene's going? Because they might know a little bit more of social media or know a little bit more of the whole computer aspect of music.
Um, well, let's see. They're both 14 years old, so they're no, 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 I'm kidding. Um, probably a little bit. Yeah, probably a little bit. But again, they're so wrapped up in trying to figure out, what's the next verse and dancing madly backwards that they got to concentrate on what they're doing. So, yeah.
Now, do you do social media yourself? Do you have a Facebook or Twitter?
Oh
Do you
yeah,
do all
I
that?
try to socialize as much as possible. No, yeah, we've got, you know, we've got all of that going on. Hmm.
Do you find it weird connecting with your fans in that way? I mean, I
Uh,
can remember back in the day where you would wait backstage, yeah, or where the buses are for a chance to maybe talk to somebody, or you might hear that, hey, they're
or
going to be at this bar.
yeah, shake hands with them and say, hey, just wanted to meet you, whatever. That's still around. I mean, that part of it, that the humanness is still there. Um, but
But now you got somebody that can just pop up on their phone and send you a message or the
yeah,
tweet or this or that, and
I like to refer to that as twit. We like to, no, no, we don't do that. Um, but yeah, it is rather impersonal in some ways. And again, not to get too philosophical, but I really think that as in any technological gain or something that's good, there's always going to be a downside to it, whether people want to, admit it or not, until they get fed up enough with it. But yeah, it's we have all that going on, and lots of people. The beautiful part about it is that you can communicate with a lot of people very quickly. So they're used in the right way. There is some benefits to that. So
Now, with the way the music's going, there was you're a rock and roll icon. You've played with rock and roll icons your entire life. Do you think there's ever going to be anybody that big again? I mean, from the music
No,
that's coming out now, you know what I'm saying? You,
not a chance.
it's all flash in the pan artists. You know, it's like I.
Well, and the reason I said that, and somebody might write in and say, "Oh boy, what is he talking about?" Well, I'll tell you why I say that. It's not that I don't wish it would, and I wish it would for whoever, quote unquote, can make it happen. Qualify or whatever. The machinery, as we were talking a minute ago, isn't there anymore. The musical star making machine is out of order. And that's the reason. I don't think you think you're ever going to see another Beatles or the Rolling Stones or Led Zeppelin or the Who or Yardbirds or whatever you want to name. It's not likely. Is it possible? Oh, maybe, but it's not likely because there just isn't the star making machinery around anymore. If that was in place, as it was even into the mid '80s, you would still you'd have a chance at it. But the way so many things have closed down, and you know, I don't know if that's going to happen. And again, I just want to make one comment. It's the people that love music. That's who suffers through all this. That's who suffers. When these people that love music, like yourself and millions of people, when they don't get to enjoy or get to be able to see, read, hear, they're the ones that suffer. I mean, it's terrible, really.
Oh, I agree 100%. I mean, you know, as you stated before, and you're talking about record store day when you go out and get the album. I mean, I'm a bit young. I'm younger. I'm only 36, but I remember going to the store and getting the CD and opening it up and the booklet and looking at the pictures and doing everything and
All of it, yeah.
the whole concert experience of enjoying the show and remembering and telling stories. It's
That's right. You go with your buddies, and you go see, somebody, you catch the latest Village People tour. No, I'm just kidding. Um, but you know what I mean. Whatever it is, and now those things are, they're few and far between. And by the way, the other sobering thought in all of this is that many of these people will be retiring. And all of these great people that people always have admired and looked up to and loved through the years, you know,
right.
there there'll be a time that they leave. If I can use that expression, whether it's Jeff Beck or Robert Plant or Paul McCartney or Pete Townsend, I mean, you name it, there'll be a time when these great people have moved on, and that's the sad part, because none of it goes on forever. And so while you can see them, I tell people right now, everybody that you ever want to see, that you've ever wanted to shake hands with or whatever, you need to go do it.
Oh, I agree with that 100%. I mean, if there's ever an artist that comes around and it's just like, this could be the very last opportunity I have to see them, I have to be there.
That's right. That's right. I agree, man. That's the story.
Now, with you guys touring, I see that you guys are doing some meet and greets. We're actually going to give away a pair to the Seneca Niagara show. Do you see a different crowd out there? I mean, you guys got your fans from who've listened to you their whole life, but then you also got a whole new generation of people that got turned on by their dad or their uncle or
Right.
different.
And what's your question?
The crowd out there. Do you notice it's different ages, different group? You know what I mean?
Well, let me tell you something. This will really blow your mind. We were just in Virginia and Maryland about a month ago, and I would swear to you that the people on the first two sort of rows, if that's what you call it, it was a standing room thing, but there was like rows of people. They were somewhere between 16 and 60.
That's awesome.
I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, I couldn't believe my eyes. I mean, the diversity, age wise, of the people coming. Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. Sometimes, Captain Beyond is sort of a musicians band sort of group of lots of but there was two or three girls standing together watching it with no guy, not like their dates were around. And I'm thinking, boy, that's kind of unusual to see that. And they were like 18, 19. So I don't know. It just seems to keep, like you were saying, it seems to keep turning over more and more and more. It doesn't, which is exactly why I wanted to go out and play this music for the people, because it just seems to, continues to build. I mean, I don't know.
Now, what I'm looking at here is you got about a solid month of touring here. And then what are you going to do after that wraps up? Is there going to be more tour dates coming sooner or later? Or?
Probably go water skiing. No, not water skiing. Um, yeah, well, you talking about just the shows in general?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like this
Yeah,
tour, I see it wraps up on the 25th, and then you take a break until October.
that's right. And then there's some more being scheduled for there and through, I don't know, November. And then there'll be a period of time off because that's how it works now. You don't go out and play months on end. I've done that. I did it. I mean, Captain Beyond went out with Alice Cooper one time, and I mean for 3 straight months without going home. 3 months. That doesn't happen very often anymore. It's all spread out. People go out for a week or a weekend or God, I don't know. I mean, it's so so those dates are being worked on right now as we're talking.
Now speaking of you playing, you actually used to do double duty, right? You would play Allman Brothers, but open up for Johnny Winter, and you would jump back and
Yes,
forth.
that's right. Yeah, played with the Almonds for many years with Dwayne and Barry, the original group, and then go out because when they were opening for Johnny, and then go out and play with Johnny, and then go back, sit around for an hour and a half, while the opening act goes on, and change your clothes because you're soaked, and go back out again and do it. Yeah, that's true.
That had to have been crazy.
I think that would be an understatement. If you catch my drift,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, 100%, man. Well, Bobby, I appreciate your time. I love talking to you. I love the stories. I love your take on music and how everything's going. For the fans out there that are listening and they want to know more about you, they want to know more about the tour dates, maybe a possible album coming up. I see the website is officialcaptainbeyond.com, and you have the official Bobby Caldwell site.com. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's the Bobby Caldwell site. It's the official Bobby Caldwell site.com, and then official captainbeyond.com, and I believe there's several Captain Beyond groups on Facebook that's also try to keep up to date as well. So yeah.
Great, man. Thank you so much. Looking forward to seeing you on the 25th.
Well, thank you very much. I thoroughly enjoyed our discussion, and great interview on your part, and I look forward to meeting you.
Well, like I said, it was an honor, man. You're a legend.
Well, thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend, and God bless you, my friend.
Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye.